Hi everyone, this is the Ask Annie podcast, Horse Girl reviews on products you use. Clarifly larvicide is more than just a fly control product. It is the first step towards improving horse comfort and keeping nuisance flies out of your stables. This feed additive uses an active ingredient that passes through the digestive system of horses and is expelled in their manure, where it stops flies in their larval stage. By using Clarifly larvicide as part of an IPM program with Starbar products, you'll get more support, more expertise, and more control. Visit centralflycontrol.com to learn more or contact your local feed dealer.
Thank you for joining us today, Andrea. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and how horses have been a part of your life?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Annie. Sure. Yes, I always say I could ride before I could walk. I was lucky enough to have horses from the very beginning. My mom is as horse crazy as I am. And to this day, my dad would agree. I've just always had horses. I grew up hunters and jumpers. My mom's side of the family is German, and we have a lot of family still in Germany who have a horse farm there. So I was pretty lucky in that we had some really great connections in Europe. I did go and work at St. Georg, which was, or is still Dr. Klimke's property there. It was beautiful. So I got to ride sale horses, dressage horses that most people would dream of. So I was really lucky that sense. But being that I had all these really great horses and all this English riding under my belt, when I was a senior in high school, I picked up a rope and kind of never looked back. So I can kind of do it all. When you when you open my trailer up, you're going to see dressage saddles, hunt seat saddles. You're going to see a rope saddle. You're going to see everything. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything. I went to school in Southwest Louisiana, a big ag school, and I've run ranches, cow-calf operations, roped. So yeah, I've always had horses. I have 2 now, which is great. And my mom has plenty more. So I have quite the selection whenever I want to ride. So yeah, no, I've always had them, and they're good for your soul.
I'll say, yeah, talk about versatility too. My goodness.
Yeah.
And how long have you worked for Central Life Sciences? And can you tell us what you love about this company and its products?
I have worked for Central Life Sciences. It'll be 10 years in September, which is crazy. Time goes so fast, but it flies when you're having fun. I really enjoy this company because it is so heavily ag related, and that's a passion of mine, and it's a passion of the company's. I really like being able to help people, whether it be cattlemen, horsemen, integrators. So we kind of do it all. So we have a swine division. We service all the poultry operations, feedlots in the Midwest, ranches, the whole gamut. So it's a lot of variety, which I enjoy. So one week I can be on horse farms, one week I can be on a dairy farm. So there's just a lot of variety, and it's fun. I'm not stuck in an office all day, every day, which I love. And it's helping people. Flies are a nuisance. I never thought that I would be excited for a fly season, but there's always going to be flies. So it's good job security. No, but seriously, flies are a total pain. And they transmit a ton of disease. And they can really do a lot of damage on a farm. So it's nice to be able to help people. People love getting rid of flies. So they're always pretty happy to see you come.
Yeah, I bet that they see you driving in and they're just overjoyed.
Right. And then there's people like we travel a lot. So on airplanes, they'll see you get on a plane and be like, oh, what do you do for work? And I'm like, not what you think. So
that's
it's
awesome.
good.
What would you say your typical day is like?
It really varies. Today, for instance, I'm in my office answering emails and writing up programs for my customers going forward. We have trade shows coming up, so a lot of the dealer trade shows will be coming up. So I'm doing a lot of planning for that in August and September. But outside of that, I walk on a bunch of dairy farms, horse farms. I ride with some of our distributor reps on the road and educate the dealer market. I'm actually doing a meeting next week with the Kent Nutrition Group. So I get to talk to a bunch of their dealers and their personnel. So there's a lot of training involved, which is great because I get to educate folks on how to properly use our products so that they get the most out of them. I mean, there's certain places where you need to hang the traps and different products so that they're most effective. And so it's nice to talk to people. It's good to hear their stories, and I've met a lot of really cool people over the years, so it's been fun.
Yeah, I bet. On that education point, what are signs to look for horse owners to know that you have a fly problem?
This is going to sound kind of sarcastic, but flies. So if you see your horses swishing and stomping and they'll clump together, and I mean, you'll see them anyways. You'll see them in the barns. You'll see them all over. So yeah, chances are if there's horses, you're going to have flies. So that's really the first step. And then of course there's fly ID, which, you know, I've been on both sides of the fence, right? I've ran farms and done that. And then I came to work for this company and realizing that not necessarily are you going to own a farm and be like, oh, that's a stable fly, I need to use this trap. You're going to be like, there's a fly, like I got to kill it, you know? So, you know, we do a lot of fly ID, which can get kind of overwhelming for some people, but, you know, there's stable flies that are the flies that are going to be on the horse's legs. And if your horses have white socks, you're going to see the little specks of blood because they're blood feeders. House flies are going to be all over the feed bags, any hay that's, you know, left down, or if you're feeding round bales, you're going to see that at the base of round bales. You'll see stable flies there as well. But so there's a lot to it, just outside of catching the flies. It's kind of seeing what kind of flies you're dealing with and which traps and products are going to work the best for those.
Yeah, definitely. Why are flies such a problem for horse owners?
Mostly nuisance, honestly. They are just annoying. Of course, there's biting flies, so you're going to get horses that stomp and paw. I'm married to a horseoer, to a farrier, and he just despises horses that stand there and paw all day. But yeah, that's going to be the main thing is you're going to see your horses. They are a nuisance. They transmit a ton of disease, which I find more on the cattle side of it. But, you know, horses, I've always said, if you put a horse in a padded room, it's going to find a way to hurt itself, right? So, like my yearling came in yesterday, he had a big old scratch down his face. It wasn't bleeding or anything, luckily, but, you know, as soon as they have anything like that exposed, you're going to get flies that come and land on it. And that's just how they are. So, so they can transmit a ton of disease, a variety of different diseases. But most above all, I say they're a nuisance.
Yeah, and Central Life Sciences uses an IPM approach. Can you explain IPM?
So IPM is integrated pest management. So we have a feed-through product that Mark Upton talked about on episode 59, I believe, called Clarifly. So Clarifly is a feed-through, and Starbar products are your baits, your traps, and that sort of a thing. So IPM is the whole program together. So you're doing a feed through, but you're also using traps and baits to catch incidental flies that haven't been, you know, killed by the Clarifly product. So yeah, that's what IPM is. So in the way that we go about it, what we like to talk about is we call it PIE. So it's planning, implementation, and evaluation. So you want to be proactive, right? You don't want to be reactive. It's always better to be proactive, especially when it comes to fly control. So when your flies start to emerge in the spring, it's best to put out, you know, what hanging fly traps you're going to need in the stalls or in your run-ins. And just look around the property. You want to have cleaned up, you know, good lawn care and maintenance around the property. You want to weed whack the tall weeds so that there's not places for the flies to go and rest, and clean up old hay so that they're not breeding in the old hay and you're not creating more of a fly problem. So IPM it's kind of like the whole approach to fly control. and really just getting the most out of it between, using the products together from Clarifly all the way to your sticky traps that you're going to hang in your stalls.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally makes sense too, that pie analogy, really trying to get everything, every fly that you possibly can. Why is there no silver bullet for killing flies?
So I wish there was. Actually, no, I don't wish there was. That would mean I wouldn't have a job. No. So there really is no silver bullet. You're not going to say, oh yeah, just get this product and it's going to get rid of all of your flies. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So there is no silver bullet. So it's rotating your baits. So not using the same bait year in and year out. I suggest doing it seasonally. So if you're going to use, let's say, Quick Strike this year as a scatter bait, maybe next year try our new bait that'll be coming out, Dur Strike, and something with a different active ingredient so that the flies do not become resistant to those active ingredients. So yeah, there is no silver bullet. Like I said, what I like to do is I hang the sticky traps in my stalls and up high. And when the horses come in at night or to feed, flies come in with them and they go up high to rest and it catches the flies there. I do feed Clarifly to my horses. So I have that side of the IPM going as well. And then between my barn and my manure pile, which is far away from the horses, so that that's another big thing is I understand there's a lot of operations that you cannot have manure pile far away, but try to get it as far away from the horses as possible. That's where you're going to get most of the emergence of these flies. And what I do is I take attractant traps, and I can talk about those in a little bit. I put it between the manure pile and the barn. So it's an attractant trap. So it draws the flies to it, right? So I'm catching the flies that have emerged from the manure pile that haven't been killed from the Clarify or Exalt that I also sprinkle there. I'm really at war with flies. There's no flies on my property. Maybe two. So it's just kind of getting the full circle. You're getting the best fly control you can with all the different products that are available.
That concludes this week's episode, but our conversation with Andrea isn't over yet. Tune in on July 19th to hear more about the products that Andrea recommends to achieve this IPM approach. Thanks for tuning in. Learn more about the Ask Annie podcast by following us on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Ask Annie Podcast. Have a suggestion for a product you'd like me to use in an upcoming episode? Email me at askanniepodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment on any of our social media pages. Find even more Ask Annie episodes anywhere you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. The Ask Annie podcast is a production of Equine Podcast Network, an entity of Equine Network, LLC.